There it goes. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to the Lunch and Learn. This is our first one of the fall semester. My name is Cindy Phillips. I'm the Student Success Coordinator on this campus and on the Vidalia campus. And today our Lunch and Learn is going to be on what employers are looking for in an employee. And Crider Poultry agreed to come and be our speaker today. And while you may not be in a profession where you would go and work at Crider Poultry, the things that they're going to tell you, such as work ethics, those type things will be important in whatever job you go to. So if you will, if your cell phone is not turned off, please go ahead and do that. And please don't speak to your neighbor while they're talking. And they're going to talk a little bit about work ethics and the things employers look for, and they're also going to tell you about some exciting things that are going on at Crider Poultry. And they are going to stay around after the Lunch and Learn. So if you're in a field of study that would apply, where they would have jobs that you could apply for, if you want to hang around, they'll be happy to stay and talk to you. And so if you will, Mr. Glenn Anderson, he is the Vice President of Human Resources. He's going to start our show off today, and I'll give it to Mr. Glenn.
Okay. Thank you, Cindy. Can everybody hear me okay? Thank you. I have with me Doug Sykes and Deborah Thompson. All of us are, of course, work in HR. We appreciate being here today. We'll do about three things. We will give you a quick overview of the company. We will, like Cindy said, we'll show you some things that we look for in applicants and candidates and prospective employees for our company, and help you in that way. And then we'll save some time to have you questions and answers. And I understand most of you have a class to go back to, so we'll try to get you out of here in plenty of time. One thing I'd like to for you to take away today, right from the top, we changed our name. We are now Crider Foods. We're not in the poultry business anymore. Mr. Crider was in the poultry business, the slaughter business, for 30 plus years. And as you see, we're going to show you some slides and show you where we worked out of that actually year before last, and show you what the focus of our business is. And I really think it's important that we tell you this, because a lot of people think that we're just a poultry processing plant, and let's face it, not too many people are lined up to get those jobs, because most of the time they're less than desirable things that you want to be doing. But our business has totally changed. Our whole facility's totally changed. We have some great jobs now, and we'll show you that, and help you understand where we are and how do you need to prepare yourself. You don't have to go to Atlanta or anywhere else when you get your degree in whatever discipline you're studying. There are good jobs right here at home, and we have some very good jobs and very good paying jobs. So we'll see that as we go through. But just remember, we are Crider Foods, okay? A little bit of history, and I'm going to go through this pretty fast because this is not why we're here. We just want to show you some of the stuff about our company. We are a privately held company, not publicly traded, solely owned by Mr. Billy Crider. Started the business in 1944. A lot of people don't know this, but he used to work for Flowers Baking Company, who makes bread. And 1970, he sold his business and worked for them for 7 years, and decided he didn't like that. He wanted to work for himself, so he came to Stillmore, Georgia, and opened up a literally run-down, grown-up trees through a poultry processing facility there, and has built from that. In 1985, there was a canning plant that he purchased in Lincolnton, Georgia. In 1999, it was totally destroyed by fire, lightning strike, and that gave them the opportunity then to consolidate everything. So they built a new canning plant in Stillmore in the year of 2000. In the year of 2003, we started a fully cooked plant, and I mentioned earlier, we discontinued the slaughter processing in 2011. We currently have about 500 employees, 325,000 square feet of space, production space, not including a new 110,000 foot distribution center for finished products. We ship to all 50 states in the U.S. There's some of our customers. You might recognize Costco. We don't have a Costco. The closest one I think here is Augusta. But the Kirkland Signature brand is the product that we make for Costco. Chilies, some of those things I'll show you in a minute when we get to the cook plant. We do ship all over the world, currently to about 35 countries. Bet you didn't know this about Crider right down here in the piney woods of Stillmore, yeah? We can over 55% of the canned poultry products that is canned in the United States. So that's a pretty big feat when you're competing with Hormel and Campbells and all those folks. We do a little bit on the fresh facility. There we take, like you would buy whole muscle, boneless, skinless chicken breast out of the counter at the grocery store. We take those and put them through a sizing machine, and it cuts them perfectly to cover a bun when you go to Wendy's or McDonald's or wherever and buy a chicken sandwich. That's what that is. 100% of our meats is Xray. We have Xray machines to ensure that we don't have any bones in our products. Those are actual photos of inside our facility. Canning facility is our bread and butter, as you would say. We have the capacity to can over 2 million pounds a week. We are SQF Level 3 certified. That stands for Safe Quality Foods. That is a international recognition, likable to ISO programs and those sort of things. There's very few plants that are Level 3 certified, and we are. Tells you a little bit about our philosophy, some more shots inside our facility. The product capabilities, we can several different proteins. Canned chicken being the largest, turkey, pork, ham, chicken is the biggest. Chicken and dumplings, if you eat sweet Sioux chicken and dumplings, they come from our plant in Stillmore. We're the only plant that packs for Swanson the sweet Sioux chicken and dumplings. So if you eat those, we have our own dumpling room. We make our own dumplings. If you haven't tried them, I recommend them. The cook facility is where we have a fully cooked products for, we do a lot of school lunch programs, fajita meat, diced, cubed, that sort of thing. When you go to Chili's or places like that and you order a fresh salad with grilled chicken on top or whatever, and it comes out and it's got those little char marks on there and it looks so good and like they just cooked it in the back in the kitchen. Well, we cook that in our plant and we freeze it and sell it to them, and they use it in the preparation of their products. There's nothing wrong with it, except a lot of people just don't know that, but we have a char broiler and a char grill that we put those marks on for them. We do a lot of that. We have a belt in that cook plant that will cook like up to 13,000 pounds of chicken wings per hour. So it is the premier fully cooked plant in the United States. There's only a couple of them that are capable of cooking that much. Again, this is some of the products that we produce out of the fully cooked plant. More products we produce out of the fully cooked plant. Support services. We have on site a certified lab. We do send some things off, but we have certified lab technicians. Dr. Gary Herlock is a degreed veterinarian that's on our staff. He's one of the 5 senior directors of the plant. We have built a new R&D research center at our plant. We're capable of producing and testing any products that our plant produce there. Again, that's just more about, we have a director for our fully cooked plant, director for our canning plant. We also own Claxton Cold Storage. Mr. Crider purchased that about 7-8 years ago. It's down in Claxton. All the product that we finish in Stillmore from the cook plant goes to Claxton. It's frozen and goes immediately to Claxton, and it's distributed out of there mostly for customer pickup. Those are all the retail stores that I was telling you about before. We do some products for Sam's, Costco, those sorts of things. Some for the school lunch programs. We make fajita meat, diced meat for soups. We do a lot for Campbell's soups. Millions of pounds each year of our diced chicken goes in Campbell's soups that you eat. Again, that's just some pictures. We believe that our people are our strength, and that sets us apart from our competitors and keeps us competitive, as you see on the worldwide market now. Corporate responsibilities, we don't brag about it. Mr. Billy kind of keeps things to himself, but I like to share. He does a lot of contributions to worthy causes and organizations around our community. I know this year within the past year we've raised several $1,000s for the Sunshine Boys House, the Joseph Boys Home, bought a new fire truck for Stillmore Fire Department. Just several things that he does that he doesn't like to publicly take credit for, but he does believe in supporting the community because they've been so good to us. Some of the jobs that we offer, and I'll tell you more about those in just a second. One thing we look for in a candidate that comes to work, we want to know if you're serious. You wouldn't believe how many people that come to our organization and they're not really serious. They've gone to school because they got government funding to do that. They're out looking for a job because their mom and dad is about to kick them out of the house. There's several reasons that people are not serious about a job. So we see a lot of faces. We take a lot of time and we try to help people, but we don't want to waste our time with a person that's not serious. So you ask me, what do we look for? When I see somebody coming, when I see them walk in, I pay attention to how they carry themselves, how they sit, how they address people, how they dress. All those things are very important. And as we were preparing to come here today, Doug and Deborah and I were talking, and you can go on the internet and you can just pull up all you want to about how to interview, how to field questions, how to answer questions, all those things. I can't tell you how to do all that, and I would just be probably repetitious to tell you that, but you need to spend some time on it. I don't want to get ahead of myself. What we look for is the things that are common sense. Most of them are common sense. This is not rocket science. Dress for success. Don't overdress. If you're coming to a job interview in our facility, we have a manufacturing environment, a warehousing environment. Some places are damp. You don't want to wear sandals or open-toed shoes if you're ladies to those type interviews, because we may take you on a tour. We may take you out and show you what the actual jobs are. So if you don't know how to dress, call and ask. How you prefer a dress? What's to be expected. The biggest thing is communications to me, but don't wear a three-piece suit. If your ladies don't show up in your Sunday dress and high heels, because you're not going to impress anybody. You just need to dress for success, dress for the part. Of course, the things important, resume preparation, if your job calls for a resume. A lot of times people don't have resumes. We just ask them to complete application process. How many people do you think that comes in, we give them an application, they put the name on it and maybe a couple other things, sign it, and that's about it. Now, who's serious about getting a job if you only take time to do that? And we look at those things very carefully. If a person's not serious enough about completing an application, what does that tell you about a person? They usually don't follow through. They don't follow instructions. They're not serious about getting the job. There's a lot of things that we read between the lines of looking for. So don't sell yourself short and think you're going to be cute or get out of there in a hurry unless you really want a job, okay? Make sure things are spelled correctly. If you're asked to write something, take your time, put your thoughts into it. Know the position you're applying for. You know, you come, and a lot of times we do have multiple positions open, but if you're there for anything available, say so. But if you're going and you want to apply for a packaging technician job to operate a machine, you know, you need to understand what that job entails. If you don't know, ask. Try to find out everything you can ahead of time to prepare yourself. There's have a work history. There, it may differ from person to person. You may be a person that got out of high school, decides you want to go to tech school or college or whatever you wanted to do. You really don't have any work history. But that's not a knock against you either. Just sit and have a conversation, answer those questions, have a good reason for not having a work history. What we don't like to see is a person work 2 months here and 3 months there and whatever, because that can tell you a lot of different things about a person. Complete the dates, connect the dots. If you want a job in July and you left July the 30th and took another job August the 1st, you know, connect those dots. But if you left a job this July and you don't put out another job until 2 years later, you might have been incarcerated or whatever. We don't know that. But really pay attention to what that's doing. And again, I can't tell you too many times, if you don't know, ask. Ask. There's no bad questions in trying to seek a job. It's the people that do ask, the people that are concerned, the people that show us a genuine interest in the job that we think will be the best employees. What do we want to hire? We want to hire people that's going to come to work, not give us any problems, and be there for a long time. I guarantee you that some of our best employees, I don't know their names, because they were probably hired before I got there, and they haven't had any reason to come to HR because they hadn't been in trouble. They hadn't had any attendance issues or that sort of thing. But we'll talk more about that. But at our place of business, I can guarantee you that attendance will get you, will lose your job for you unless you have a real good reason. All of us have reasons to be out of work at different times. I'm not telling you can't miss a day. But you know, usually when people are taking advantage of that. We have some jobs now that we have recently placed people on where we don't have an appoint system. They're not on an attendance system. They have a good pay, good benefits, and they're on the same attendance system that I'm on. And Mr. Crider expects me to be at work unless I got a real good excuse for not being there. The attendance program that we administer there says that when your attendance becomes excessive, chronic, or abusive, it'll be addressed. What does that mean? You know the national average for absenteeism in the United States for manufacturing? It's 3.5 days a year, and that's the average. With all the vacation time you get and holidays and everything else, there's really no reason unless you catch a real virus or a flu or something happens to a family member or something, there's just no reason to be out. But attendance is very important. Why? Because we only have X number of jobs on lines, and if you're not there, somebody's got to pull that weight. And some of the jobs that we've recently gone through in our departments, in our packaging department most recently, we had over 50 people on day shift, over 50 people on night shift. We've just spent altogether about $50 million on an expansion project that included a big part of that in packaging, and it's highly automated. Now we run those departments with 15 people in each department. But guess what? Those jobs are good paying jobs. In some cases, they pay twice what they used to. They have a full set of benefits. And the biggest thing they do is learn and understand the equipment and able to tweak it, keep it running, and make some adjustments to it if it's needed. But you shifted from manual labor to working with your smarts. So that's very important. What's cool around campus or on the street is not necessarily cool in the workplace. I can guarantee you that Mr. Crider literally cannot stand to see people with their shirt tails out, or their hats turned around backwards, or especially pants sagging. We have real strict rules on our facility, don't we, Deborah? Deborah's been there 26 years. So I guarantee you that you show up looking like that, we won't even talk to you. In fact, our security officer will turn you around to get you off the property. The thing I call the 3 Ps for job searching is preparation, and those are the things that are common sense, things that you can research, things that you can brush up on. But it's preparation, practice, and process review. That's the 3 Ps, and I'll touch on those in just a second. But like I said from the beginning, a lot of this stuff is not rocket science. It's just paying attention to what you're doing, be serious about what you're doing, learn all you can. A lot of schools nowadays, we notice, we get college graduates, even undergraduates and master's degrees, where some people come in and they have no idea what the interview process is like. Try to find out what you can before you get there. Now, most likely in our place, you will see me or Deborah or Doug or somebody that's going to take you and do a one-on-one interview with you. And we'll probably field some of those questions in just a minute, but you don't ever know. And being in this business 35 years, I've been in every interview process that you could imagine that you can be in. A panel interview, behavioral interview, all kinds of interviews. So try to find out what you're going to be facing before you get there. How long you're going to be there. All those questions you need to find out. Be on time. The interview's at 9 o'clock. Don't show up at 8 o'clock. You just be in the way. Show up at 10 minutes to 9. And then you'll be on time. I can't tell you when to leave home, but leave home in time enough if not to get caught by the train or any of the other excuses that people use sometimes for being late for work. But all of us are adults, so some of those things you have to just figure out for yourself. But those are the kinds of things that we look at. In our place, we do background checks. If you've been in trouble, I don't know too many people that are perfect, but tell the truth, because we do reference checks, we do background checks, and we don't be kidding. We don't just tell you that, we do that. It cost us about $75 to do what we need to do to get somebody on the payroll, if we hire them. Because we're going to do reference checks, we're going to do background checks, we're going to do drug tests, we're going to do the whole 9 yards. So if you got fired from a job because of some disagreement with your supervisor, practice with somebody how you can say that in a good way, in a good positive way, but don't lie about it. Because when we call that employer or talk to somebody, they're probably going to tell us the truth. And once we find out somebody fibbed to us, Deborah don't have much patience. But, recreation drugs is a big thing now. It's not big with me because I hate it. I despise drugs. We drug test every time we get a chance. So, and that includes post-offer interviews. So if we give you a job offer, we're going to drug test you. And then after you start to work, we may drug test you the first day, and we may drug test you again later on. But we do that just to have a safe workplace. So don't get caught up in that. I can't tell you how to live your life, But if you had any kind of brushes with the law or whatever, sit there and be honest. Throw it on the table. Because a lot of times we talk through it, and we believe in giving people second chances. But I can, guarantee you that if you don't tell us the truth, we have to find it out otherwise. Then, and the services that we use is local, county, state, nationwide, FBI, all of that stuff. We're tied into all those computers. So, they'll tell us where every address that you've ever lived at and everything else. So, be honest about that. I'm talking to you like you might not be honest, but I don't mean to be. I'm just stressing the importance of it. Again, practice. Be prepared. Like if you take an exam in school, the exam's not hard if you know the material. You might get a little nervous, but I guarantee you'll come out of there with a lot better grade if you know the material than if you don't know the material, right? So practice, know what you're getting into. That's the second P and I call the 3 Ps of interviewing. And a lot of things they don't teach you in school anymore. Handshake etiquette. Does everybody know the difference between a male and a female as far as shaking hands? If you come into my place, you can offer me a handshake, I'll shake your hand. But if you approach Deborah, what's the rule on that?
She initiates.
That's correct. The female is supposed to initiate the handshake. If she offers to shake hands with you, you extend your hand and shake hands. But if she doesn't and she just acknowledges you, that's fine. Brush up on that kind of stuff. It goes a long way when people are noticing you to see what kind of person you're going to be. Remember, we look at you not just to see how good a worker you're going to be, but see what you're going to contribute to the success of the company. See if you're going to be there, if you're going to be on time, if you're not going to give us a problem. All those things play a big part in it. Again, ask questions. Ask questions. If you don't get the job, there's nothing wrong with revisiting, call back, ask them, what can I do to help myself? How can I improve myself? Where did I go wrong? It might not have been that you did anything wrong. It might have been that we just needed, in our case, we just needed one person, and maybe somebody got there before you did, or maybe it was some sort of tie or equal, and we just needed one, had to choose one. But there's nothing wrong with asking questions, following up, and trying to better yourself. Now, we have some people that call back sometimes that don't know how to handle that, and some people can get pretty pushy about it. And the law says we really don't have to give you a reason we didn't hire you. All we have to do is tell you that we hired a better qualified applicant. That's what the law says. But we try to be as courteous as we can and help people when we can. If you didn't answer a question right, that's not necessarily going to keep you from getting a job. We look for the real person, and be aware of your friends, your neighbors, and people you know, because you would never believe how many times somebody shows up for an application at our company and some of our internal employees says, hey, I need to talk to you. I saw Joe Blow out here today. You don't want to mess with that guy. Want to tell on you. Okay? Deborah, Doug, y'all want to say anything? We'll field some questions. Again, I don't want to keep you guys too long. I hope we've told you some things. Again, we do not kill chickens at Crider Foods. But we can a lot of chicken, a lot of beef. And the closest place I know, we can for Kroger, Publix, and all that. You won't walk into a store at Family Dollar, General Dollar, and any of those places and normally you won't find Crider. Some of those stores you'll find the Crider label. but most of them we pack under some sort of private label for them. Harvest Creek is a private label that we have. You'll see some Harvest Creek around in some of the stores, but Piggly Wiggly, I can just name them. We probably pack over 200 different labels. So we just want you to know that we're not just a pint-sized manufacturing company here in the Deep South. We have good jobs to offer. To expand on that a little bit, we've just recently converted into some jobs where we offer people, we do training on site. We have some very high dollar equipment that you have to train on, and most of it is computer panel interface where the operator has to control that equipment from that angle. Those jobs start anywhere from $12 and up to $18 an hour. We have maintenance jobs at anywhere from $15, $22 an hour. So those are pretty good jobs here in the Deep South, and we offer a good line of benefits along with those. Like I said, you don't have to go to a high cost of living metropolitan area like Atlanta, some of those other big cities. Anybody got questions? Y'all please ask some questions. Yes, ma'am.
There are opportunities for nurses out of Crider Foods, aren't there?
We have one nurse that seems to, she handles the medical department, the workers' compensation, those kinds of things. And through Doug's help, Doug's been there 3 years now, our safety director, we don't have many injuries. Now, we try to help people with personal stuff and that sort of thing too, but it's not something that we push for obvious reasons, but good question. Come on, y'all, make me look good now. Ask some questions. Well, I hope what we've said is helped you some. Has it helped you any? Okay. Remember, it's just not rocket science. Just get up and you don't want to get up today and say, well, Crider Foods called yesterday. I got to go down there and talk to them at 10 o'clock this morning. Well, about time I better go on down there. You better prepare yourself. Pay attention to what you're doing. Even if it's an entry-level job, that job might lead to a better job, right? If you get in it and you do a good job and you can get promoted. And I'm going to give Doug and Deborah a chance to say something, but if you got a question, just throw up your hand.
I just wanted to add one quick thing. When we were looking at the slides and it was talking about being prepared, especially during the interview process, go online and look at some interview questions. And the reason I say that is because Deborah and I do this all the time. Deborah will sit down and interview someone, and then that person will then come to me and interview, and then we get back together and we compare notes. And sometimes we ask a lot of the same questions just a little differently. But when we get that question was answered this way for Deborah and then differently for me, that causes some questions on whether that person was being honest about answering that question. And also, you need to take a little bit of time when we ask a question and think about what your answer is going to be. Because when we ask questions, we're really kind of looking for some specific answers. One of the first questions I ask when I interview someone, I look at where they live. And the first question I ask is, well, I see you live in Lyons, Georgia. How long have you been living there? Now, why do you think I ask that question? What am I looking for? Consistency. I want to find out whether that person moves from town to town to town to town. Because what that tells me is that person moves from job to job to job and job. And they're not consistent. They don't have a stable home life. So if they're not stable at home, are they going to be stable at work? Probably not. Doesn't mean that they are. There may be a reason why. And if there is a reason why you moved, then you need to say, well, I moved because of this. And in a lot of cases it is like that. But just think about your answer and be consistent when you're going through that interview process.
And I would just like to add about the careers with Crider Foods. I've been there 26 years. I come here to Swainsboro Technical. It was technical school at the time. And I graduated, I took a medical assistance class, and I graduated 1988. First job was at the nursing home. Then I got a call from Crider. I started out as a nurse, the plant nurse. Moved up to the Human Resources office. And now I am the Employee Relations Manager and been there ever since. I went back to school because I didn't really know anything about human resources. So I went back to school, went to East Georgia College, then I finished up at Georgia Southern in 2007 and got my degree in business administration. So I'm just saying here that, like Glenn and Doug said, and like Glenn was saying all the while, we're not a poultry plant. There are opportunities. Even if you come in at entry level, there is room for improvement. And that is my testimony. Just like I'm at church, that is a testimony. That is a true testimony. And as I don't know who all watched Judge Judy, when Judge Judy say, they don't keep me here because I'm beautiful, they keep me here because I'm smart. Well, they don't keep me at Crider because I'm beautiful, they keep me there because I'm honest and I am loyal to the company. Thank you.
Questions?
I get lunch.
Did we do that good of a job? You don't have any questions? I'm sorry?
Maintenance positions.
Maintenance positions? Yes, we do. Just still more. Claxton operates as a separate entity. We have recently started our own maintenance training program on site. We have a building that's dedicated solely to maintenance training. We probably got $250,000 worth of equipment in it. And we use some instructors that are from here and around that teach classes for us on site. We have courses that's much like your courses here. You have to go to school. We pay our people to go to school. I think it's 3 hours a night, 2 nights a week, or days, whatever shift they're on. They're paid while they're going to school, and they are evaluated. They are tested. In fact, we just ended up testing last week for one semester. And they have to pass the course in order to advance. And we got 6 different levels of that, and each time you pass a level, it's worth $1 an hour increase for you. So those are pretty good incentives and we pay you while you do it. So
I think some of them may be getting Claxton cold storage mixed up with Claxton poultry.
yeah, don't confuse Claxton cold storage with Claxton Poultry. Claxton Poultry is still in the poultry processing business. In fact, a lot of those folks are good friends of ours. Somebody's got to process the chickens, and they have a lot of people down there. I understand they got 1,800 employees now. But just probably a mile or 2 down the road from them, right across the road from the elementary school, is Claxton Cold Storage. That's a big, huge freezer that where our fully cooked products go down there and distributed. We've got about 50, 60 employees down there, but it's managed totally different. But our production jobs with our new high-tech equipment and our maintenance jobs are really good jobs. And two, in business, we like to promote from inside, internally. We look for every opportunity that we can to promote people. We have some summer internship programs that we like to get people in their sophomore, junior years, so maybe we can have a couple of looks at them. We let them come and work 8, 10 weeks while they're in between classes in their respective disciplines. We also have a management trainee program that we we like to get degreed people come in, and we put them in a 6-month rotation training period where they are allowed to work in every aspect of our company. We start them out in quality control, because quality, you have to get a good foundation in quality. You have to understand that everything that we sell has the potential to kill somebody, so it has to be done right every time. And I can honestly say, in all 30 plus years of history of our company, we've never had a product recall, and that's a great feat. But quality is very important, and then that person would work in everywhere: cook plant, packaging, canning plant, all around. And then once they settle through all that, and we get them into a permanent supervisor slot or whatever the opportunity is, then they have a good foundation, a good understanding of how the whole, everything works together. We in 2 weeks, we go live with our new retort system. When you pick up a can of chicken, people don't think about this because they've never been exposed to this information or taught this. We put the chicken in the can, add the water to it, seal the can, and then these cans are loaded in baskets, and they go in huge horizontal pressure cookers called retorts, and those cans stay in there for 2 hours at about 275 to 290 degrees, and the meat is cooked inside the can. It's raw when we put it in there. Well, not completely raw, but it has been through a marination process, but it's only been through an oven about 17 minutes prior to that. But each batch, every batch that's brought out of there, we have a quality control person that takes a can somewhere out of that stack, and they open that can and test it for temperature, they test it for fully cookedness, and it ensure that the product is prepared right. So that process is called thermal processing, and you have to be trained and certified and validated to do all that, to handle that. So some of those retort technicians make $22 an hour because they have to be very well trained and have to be good employees. Most of those have been around for a while because you just don't walk away from those jobs. Good questions. We've enjoyed it. Any other questions? I would like to say that Tony Criswell, I know most of y'all know him. He's bringing a class down next week, next Tuesday, Tuesday. Yeah, we'll do a tour for him. 15, 20 people probably at this time. One of his classes, but if you're where you can and would like to join that time, or if you get a group or a class or whatever, we'll take you through the facility and we'll walk you through the whole process flow from the beginning to the end. We did 2 tours last week. We'll have a professor that teaches some leadership development training classes for our managers and supervisors out at our place, and he has a group of honor students, and we took those through one night last week, and we also took the area industry business group through from Statesboro. So anytime you'd like to come out and see what it is, we'll give you a close-up bird's eye view of it. Just wear some good shoes. Any other questions? Was the pizza good?
Do you have any positions open right now?
In maintenance?
No, any.
In production, we are taking applications. What we do right now, we are kind of, our labor pool is pretty well full, but what Deborah does is continue to interview people of interest and talk to them and give you a realistic view on if we can expect to put you to work within the next couple of weeks or next couple of months. She'll tell you straight up like it is. Another thing I failed to mention too, we bring people in and we interview them, we like them. We make them a job offer. First thing we do is give them an aptitude test. And this is a test that's been validated. I've used it for many years. and it's designed to test your ability to think, to not transpose numbers, recognize meanings of words, follow directions. There's several things that kind of hidden in there. And it's a 50-question test. You got 12 minutes to take it. And it starts out, the first question on there, I'll go ahead and tell you, is the first month of the year is, and it'll give you 4 choices. And one of them is January. That's how easy it is. But look out when you get past there. You had to put your thinking hat on, because it's going to throw some fractions and decimals and all that stuff at you, because we deal with that stuff. People have to understand that. Our QA people, our people when we are figuring marination formulas for injecting the chicken and stuff like that, people have to be smart enough to understand and follow those directions. Good questions.
If anybody else has any questions, if you will, stay after, and these kind folks have said they'll stay and talk to you, but we do need to get the rest of everybody.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for coming.